Welcome back to the live news desk, as we are also on YouTube and Facebook Live. So all of you that are out there right now, make sure you join the conversation. Hashtag TDPartner17 if you have a question for the two individuals we're going to be chatting with in just a few moments. Make sure you get on there, because I might go to those hashtags and those questions while we're live right here. Coming up right now, John Denning, the EVP and Chief Business Officer, and then Oliver Ratzesberger, EVP and Chief Product Officer. Chatted with you guys last year, and then of course the general session it was an incredible general session. Flying in, Cirque du Soleil, coming into Anaheim. Was that your idea, Oliver?
I wish I could claim that. No, it was our team, our production team.
Yeah.
I think they did a phenomenal job. It was quite impressive, and I've never seen so much video real estate behind all of that. Right? I mean, it sucked you really into the production.
Being in LA once again, a couple years ago in LA, but when you're in LA, you got to go big.
Yeah.
You got to go big in LA. We're going to be chatting about the sentient enterprise, the evolution of business decision making. Oliver, your name is on this book, which means you had something to do with it. We're going to be chatting about that in just a little bit. But John, you're responsible for leading strategy, marketing, global learning alliances, and M&A for the company. And you most recently led the company's business transformation strategy and direction. Oliver leads TD's world-class research and development organization and provides strategic direction for all research and development related to Teradata databases, integrated data warehousing, big data analytics, and solutions. Got that out of the way right there. Now let's get into it. I think the goal is, when this stuff is written, is how fast can I say it in order to get to the important stuff. John, the excitement, I've asked a few of the guests up here so far, the excitement of the conference has been building since coming off of last year in Atlanta. What has the excitement shown you this year?
Well, I mean, if you look around, you really think about it, it's like analytics is just becoming more and more important. It changes how businesses can be successful, and I think that's what gets people excited. I mean, this morning on the main stage, you heard Monsanto. You know, he said data and analytics is the future of agriculture. I mean, you think about something like that and how you figure out how to grow food by optimizing and using analytics to pick which seeds are best for which soil types, or listening to GE talk about analytics and how it's, completely a core part of how the entire airline industry is operating. So, I mean, it's just amazing. Business outcomes, that's what gets people excited. It's real stuff.
It is. It's real stuff, and it's really happening fast.
Yes.
It's happening. You couldn't think about this stuff, just a few years ago, as a lot of folks are coming in right now to the expo hall. We're live, so again, you're going to hear some of the background noise. Oliver, had a lot of great announcements this week. I want to hear more about your vision around the Teradata analytics platform.
Yeah. As you said, over the last couple of years, things have accelerated. Innovation is happening almost at the speed of light. There's new tools, there's new engines, there's new techniques, and every user group within our companies want different tools. And it has led, unfortunately, in many of their cases, to departmentalized deployments. I mean, whether it's the data scientists or the analysts, or whether it is one department or another, they build their own systems, they deploy their own capabilities, their own tools. And when you do that, then it leads to a lot of proliferation of data, and the outputs are marginalized compared to what could be done if it was all one integrated platform. And 80% of our customers, no, 90% of our customers tell us if they had a single platform that they could deploy that does all of it, they would do it in a heartbeat. And so, what more do you need to know? And we said, okay, we need to shift from being a database to being an analytics platform. We need to integrate, and the first thing that we announced today was Asta and Teradata coming together, one analytics platform, no longer copying data around, no longer looking for a second system. No, data is in place, apply the analytics in a single workflow as you need to. We also said that going forward, we'll integrate Spark and TensorFlow and other technologies, because it's really important for our customers to have all of these tools. But again, today, they deploy them in silos. A cluster for this and a cluster for that, and it means copy data here, copy data there, and data immediately becomes stale, outdated. We call it data drift, and it's creating a massive problem for our customers that spend way too much time. Up to 80% of their time is spent on preparing data, copying data, moving data around, figuring out why data is outdated. That needs to be cut out in order to be efficient and agile. And so that's what the Teradata Analytics platform is all about.
Well, you mentioned data here, data there. Let's talk about Teradata everywhere. Let's dive into that. You mentioned the flexibility. It's more agility and flexibility to analyze data to take your business to the next level and essentially stay ahead of the curve. John, how does Teradata Analytics platform fit into the Teradata Everywhere strategy?
Yeah, so I mean the Teradata Analytics platform is a key part of it, and if you think about our Teradata Everywhere strategy, it is about de-risking an enterprise's decisions that they have to make. Really the only thing that is certain about the future right now is uncertainty. And so what we need to do is make it easier for customers to make the decisions they need to make. And the Teradata Everywhere has 4 key benefits to it, and one of them is what Oliver just talked about, which is being able to analyze anything and to be able to do that in an integrated way. And there's 3 other key benefits. The second one is around being able to deploy anywhere. And that means that whether you want to be on premises or in the cloud, and in Teradata's cloud or the public cloud, you can deploy your software anywhere you want, the same software, and it allows you to make decisions today and know that you're protected to be able to deploy in different environments as your needs change. The third key benefit of Teradata Everywhere is being able to buy anyway. And being able to buy anyway really means that you can pay as you go. You have the opportunity to buy at different price points with the features that you need relative to your use case. Gets into the element of affordability and aligning TCO with the return, and also being able to buy as a service. And many companies want to run their business, they don't want to run their infrastructure. And so increasingly more and more companies, in fact 85% of them, want to be able to have a managed service as part of their offering. And then the last benefit, the fourth one, is being able to move anytime. And again, back to this de-risking, we make it so that if you buy licenses or put a solution on premises and you want to move it to the public cloud, you can. If you want to move it into the Teradata cloud, you can. And so it's all about allowing customers to be able to adapt easily and de-risk their environments and enable them to focus on making business decisions.
Oliver, you also made an interesting announcement, the GE Aviation, which bridges the gap between aviation operations and business. How is this going to change the aviation industry?
I think this is a perfect example of where the power of analytics is moving up. GE Aviation and GE Digital, through Predix, has built an amazing platform for dealing with sensor data from the various machines and components and capturing that at scale. But they're starting to realize that that data is amazing, but imagine how much more amazing it is if it can be combined with customer data, with airport data, with fleet data, with delays, with the fact that, oh, a flight crew didn't show up on time, therefore I have implications. All of that needs to be put together in one overarching analytical view, because sensor data by itself is amazing, but if you don't know what VIP customers could potentially be impacted by this machine and what you need to do, you're missing out some of the capabilities. And so we feel like that this partnership, the strategic partnership between GE Aviation and Teradata has a huge potential for the entire airline industry, and will ultimately help airlines look a step beyond where they are today and optimize their fleets, increase customer satisfaction, and just make it easier for all of us to travel around the world.
Bottom line, there's less frustration from us. We travel a lot. I mean, the three of us, we travel quite a bit. And bottom line, it trickles down and it affects directly the customer. That customer experience is everything. Right. Especially social media, Twitter. I mean, anything happens, you guys have seen this, anything happens on a planet goes right to Twitter, right to Facebook, and you want to eliminate that. And it's pretty amazing that when you made that announcement, that's the first thing that I thought about. I'm like, this is great. This is fantastic. It's going to totally revolutionize and change the airline industry, which is definitely important, but a big topic. A lot of social media platforms. Oliver, you got your name on a book. The Sentient Enterprise, the Evolution of Business Decision Making. Explain to us about this book.
The Sentient Enterprise is a collaboration that we've started with Mohan and myself almost 4 years ago. It was looking at how do the leading companies in the world take analytical capabilities and data to the next level to disrupt their industries or to really elevate what they're doing. And we took a step away from, it's not just technology that they need, it is people, process, thinking, culture, and how to implement that. And in a way, companies need to look at capabilities that they need to build. And then, yes, they need technology underneath that can help them scale. But it's these capabilities, and we describe 5 capabilities in the Sentient Enterprise that ultimately take companies to a next level. And it's kind of a North Star story. It is like what Six Sigma was for quality. It's something that you might never reach, but you set it as your North Star, and then you back yourself away from that and say, what do I need to do next? Right? How do I build agility at scale through data, yet be repeatable with that? Because it's easy to fall for Wild Wild West and call it agile, and then a year from now it falls apart. Doesn't work for large enterprises. Or the shift from transactional thinking to behavioral thinking. That's a deep thing for companies to do, because we are all good counting the number of tickets we sold on Monday versus the Monday before. But the behaviors that lead each individual customer or each individual machine to do something or not do something is a very different area. And then as you scale that out, especially when you look at Teradata, we focus on very, very large companies. These companies have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees that all touch data and analytics in one way or another. But how do you connect them? How do you connect these insights? And then, so the third thing we describe in there is what we call collaboration, or a collaboration platform. How do individual data scientists, analysts, executives really work together in an organization and learn from each other? And then it goes from there to how do you deploy these capabilities? How do you build an app economy within organizations that every person in the company can contribute and can package up something that, for example, a data scientist does and make it available to tens or hundreds of thousands of users in the company, all the way to the 5th stage with what we call the autonomous decision platform, which is about algorithms, which is about machine learning, deep learning, AI at scale, to help make better decisions in real time. And all of that is sprinkled over with customer examples that are doing this today, that are driving their industries to the edge, to the next level, and that's what the book is all about.
Well, the next question obviously would be, John, when does your book come out? All of us got a book. You got to get your name on the book as well.
Yeah.
Where can we find this? Find the book.
You can find the book in pretty much all book retailers. It's online in all the e-commerce places. It's on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. All the standard formats.
I feel like Jimmy Fallon right here. The book, come on. Well, so it's a great read on your smooth ride on your next airline, your next travel journey. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys coming out here. We have a long week still to go. Of course, Wednesday, the big party. I'm excited about that. We'll be chatting about that a little bit later on. Once again, John Denning and Oliver Ratzesberger. We'll see you guys throughout the week. All right, coming up next, we're going to be chatting with Suhail Memon. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm going to make sure I get that. But again, Suhail is going to be up here, EDW Database Engineering Team Lead from Overstock.com. This is going to be a great conversation. Suhail leads the EDW Database Engineering team at Overstock. He's been working on Teradata systems since 2006 as a DBA and an ETL developer. His current responsibilities at Overstock include capacity management, DBMS upgrades, system performing tuning, query optimizations, and workload management. Suhail is also a certified Teradata 12 master and is an active member of the Teradata Product Advisory Council. And you hate ponies. Why do you hate ponies? I mean, before we get into anything, I got a little tidbit. I heard that you hate. Is it just you like horses? You just like ponies? He's like, no. I like the chicken, but I don't like the egg. What is it about ponies?
I was told to say something that you hate. And I said, okay, I hate ponies, but I don't hate ponies.
It says it. It's on here. It's already out there, and we're live. Suhail. He doesn't hate ponies. He doesn't hate ponies. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to explore how to go about running in a database, our Python analytics, and Teradata, right, and how it fits into the UDA. First off, how many partners have you been to?
This is my third.
Your third one.
This
Okay,
is
so
my
you're
third.
back in Anaheim. We're in Anaheim,
Yes.
Atlanta, now we're back in Anaheim.
Yes.
It was not this hot 2 years ago. It was not this hot, Suhail.
Yep.
It was not. And am I saying your name right? Is it Mehman?
Yes,
Mehman.
perfect.
Perfect, good deal. Let's jump into it. Why, in database analytics, is it a good way to run analytics on data?
Yes, it certainly is because as the analytics field is booming, we are talking about processing billions and billions of records of data, and to do analytics on scale, you have to think about doing in-database analytics because that is one of the surest way to run fast analytics on Teradata, and yeah, so and we've done some benchmarks also where we've compared some of the scripts that run on some sandboxes versus running on Teradata, and they run multitudes way faster than it would otherwise run on a sandbox.
Yeah, I mean, with that said, the ability to analyze new types of data in real time will allow businesses to make decisions previously impossible. It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
And now it is.
Exactly. Yeah, that is perfect.
Yeah, that's it's pretty incredible. How do enterprise vendors keep up with the different capabilities open source analytics provide?
The key is most of the enterprise vendors, they need to have the APIs. They need to have the APIs open so that open source can tap into these APIs, and they give these capabilities to run the open source analytics on their own proprietary hardware. Because that is the key. They need to open up. They cannot be closed systems. They need to open it up so that just like Teradata has done, and they allow different operators to run on them, and that's the key.
That's the next question. How does Teradata help in achieving in-database analytics?
Thanks, I'm glad you asked it. So Teradata has this feature called script table operators and exec-r table operator. Overstock is successfully using these script table operators to run R and Python analytics on Teradata. So these table operators are just great. You just install them and you and then you try to run them. And it could be installed by any user on Teradata as long as they have the access, and they could just execute the SQL table operator on all the nodes, and it would work.
Yeah. Well, I want to get to. We could talk a lot more about stuff, but right now it's starting to get crazy in the expo hall as we're taking a look at everything that's happening behind camera, the VR challenge, the Edge.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
You've got to try that.
Yes.
Here's what I suggest: walk out a little bit and just jump off.
Okay.
And experience the fall.
Okay.
You never get to experience the fall from 60 stories or however high that is.
Yep.
And just smile.
That's true.
Smile on your way down. And then you have the robot challenge happening over there as well.
Yeah, that seems pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun. What's the general session? You had a chance to sit in the general session and then watch that?
Yes.
Biggest takeaway you had, besides the Cirque du Soleil, you might hate ponies, but you've always wanted to be a Cirque du Soleil performer, right?
I think the biggest takeaway is the capability that Teradata is offering, that it could run anywhere, on the cloud, on-prem, and deploy anything. You can buy using a pricing model that you need, and it certainly gives a lot of options to the customers when they're thinking about doing large-scale analytics. Teradata provides a lot of pricing options, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, the expo hall. Have you made any great connections here? I mean, we have some virtual opportunities for people that are at home that can't be here. Virtual opportunities to interact with our core partners virtually. But here, inside of the expo hall, last night we had the welcome. The welcome party. It really was a fun party, but it was a first chance to meet and greet some of the vendors that are here on site.
Yes, that is correct. There are a lot of talented people you can find in the expo hall, and you just have to walk up to them and talk to them because access is so easy. These people are so talented that otherwise, if you're not on a conference, you would not get access to these incredibly talented people in Teradata. So yeah, my advice is to just go to these booths, talk to these guys, and find out more information about your Teradata journey.
For companies that are out there, a big company like Overstock, you've got smaller companies out there and they're making the decision like, okay, this is great. Virtually, wow, this is pretty awesome. The host, not so good, but everything else is fantastic. What would you say to those companies out there trying to make that decision? There's a lot of conferences out there, but why is Teradata the partners? Why is this one to put into your calendar?
I think if you're truly looking at performing any sorts of analytics in your company, you need to definitely look at Teradata. And it was in the past that Teradata used to be only for big customers, but not anymore. Teradata is definitely out there for smaller customers. Base pricing options are also great. So that certainly allows smaller customers to get their feet wet with Teradata. And when it comes to doing analytics, Teradata is right up there. I mean, it has so many capabilities that maybe other vendors are not able to satisfy.
Suhail, thank you very much. I appreciate you being a good sport again. Suhail, EDW Database Engineering Team Lead at Overstock. I'll see you Wednesday at the party. You got to stick around for that, right?
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Once again, thanks a lot, Suhail. All right, now I had a chance to catch up with Joy Ito. He was at a general session on stage, and he had a chance to stop by the news desk right afterwards. Let's take a look at that interview. Welcome back. My next guest I'm extremely excited about. You know, when I knew I was coming back here to host the news desk, the first thing I wanted to do is who is going to be the keynote, who's going to be in the general session. Joy Ito was on my paper. I'm like, yes, I get him on the desk. And now is the time. And here we go. Joy, good to have you here, Joy. Thank you very much for coming out here. You just walked off of the general session. First off, so that you guys all know, venture capitalist, an investor in Twitter, Flickr, Kickstarter, director of the MIT Media Lab. We're going to get to the Media Lab in a second, but I want to first talk about the energy here at Partners. I know it's the beginning, but still the energy has already been building. It's hot outside. I keep saying, I'm going to keep saying that. It's hot outside, but it's going to heat up even more inside.
Everyone's having a blast. When I got on stage, I felt like, where's my guitar? I mean, it felt like a concert almost, except the presentations also, for me, I learned a lot, and I think I was able to integrate it into my talk, but it was fun seeing all of the conversions of both the energy and the content of everybody's presentations.
You know, and I wasn't able to make it in there. I was here watching you, and there was so much that you can dive into, and I know everybody that was there sitting in the audience, you were touching upon, you were top-lining some things. They were like, oh, I wish we had more time. I wish he could just dive into, because, I mean, you're so far ahead of the game on what the expectations are going to be when it comes to everything in the industry, how fast things are moving. You're really at the forefront because you're a free thinker. I mean, you are truly one of the guys that are just enjoyable to talk to. You have your own opinions, and nothing strays you from how you feel.
Except facts.
Except facts. I try to fight those sometimes. Here's an interesting fact: is you do not have a college degree. No. You don't have a college degree, and you have found a home at MIT in the Media Lab. Let's talk about the Media Lab and talk about that relationship.
I started at the Media Lab 6 years ago as a director, and it's a weird place. It's kind of the department of none of the above, and we have faculty and all of these peculiar named groups doing all kinds of weird things. And when they were looking for a director, one of the hard things about the Media Lab is you sort of have to be interested in everything. And almost by definition, if you are an academic and successful, you're interested in something. And everything is sort of the opposite of something, right? So it was really hard for them to find a director. And initially, because I didn't have a degree, they were like, yeah, I probably shouldn't apply. But after they went through a few hundred candidates and they realized they needed something unusual, they ended up with me.
Something unusual, and that was you. Yeah. but everybody in there. I mean, I saw a picture, a snapshot of what the Media Lab looks like. It's looked like a London phone booth. It's got all kinds of things. People are building things in there. If they're not building, they're not working. That's kind of like the.
Yeah. There's actually a whole field of learning called constructionist learning that starts with Piaget and Seymour Papert, which is basically you learn through doing. We say learning through construction rather than learning through instruction. So all of our research, even though we write papers, that's not the point. The point is to make stuff so that we can show people, and then you learn through doing.
Let's jump into a little bit. I know you love talking about blockchain. Let's dive into that. No, I'm joking. If you saw the general session, you know what we're talking about. What do you think about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? You touched upon it during the general session, but now we have some time and just the availability to just go off.
Yeah. So the short version of that answer is I think the long-term potential is enormous. I think it will do to banks and securities and property what the internet did to media and advertising. But I think that's a long game. And I think right now, it feels to me, and I've been wrong before, but it feels to me like the first internet bubble where you've got like Dentacoin and Jesus Coin and ICOs and all this hype going around. And we're kind of, I feel like, way over our skis investing in these fintech startups when we really are still trying to figure out how to get this thing to work properly. And so to me, I feel like there's a little bit of over-anticipation right now. But in the long game, I think, is a solid game, and you've got to be somewhat interested in it to track it, and building proof of concept, but probably not production stuff yet.
So what do you think about the initial ICOs?
So I think they remind me a lot of Pets.com and all those things back when everybody was just getting attracted to this kind of fever. And the problem with these ICOs is that even though the core idea is pretty good, when you attract people who are just trying to make money, and then people who are feeding scams to those people, it just clouds the room. And even the good developers get spread out across a whole bunch of little startups, and the money entices people away from doing core research. So I think it's a bad time right now at that layer. But I think that the basic layer of sort of investigating the technology and playing it out, I think that's tremendously important. So I think I don't want to be involved in any company doing an ICO right now. But I'm working with the regulators, I'm working with the technology, trying to figure out and think about what ICOs might do to things like funding things in the developing world, or things like natural capital and energy exchanges and things like that. And so I think there's a lot of potential.
So let's go into AI. What do we need to know about AI? Listen to different podcasts, read different papers people have put out there, and there is. I was chatting with Tim and Joe up here a little bit ago, and Neil earlier about 60s and 80s AI, was there, but how far is it's come in advance? What do we need to know about AI and implementing AI into a business, and when should a business be thinking about AI? And is there going to be a chief AI officer? I mean, there's so much to think about.
Yeah. Well, I think AI is a whole category of things of enhanced automation, and the newest coolest thing is deep learning, and it's just kind of a statistical approach. So it's really good at pattern recognition, and it's really good at prediction, and that's just one part of our brain. And so for those applications, and Teradata is right in the middle of that, so it's perfect for this kind of place. The problem is being used for other things that's not so good at, like risk scores for the the justice system, or for profiling of people and things like that. So there's some areas, ethical things, that we need to be concerned about. I think the concern of like a super AI that some people have, I'm not that concerned about that. I mean, I think there's an outside risk, but there are a lot of breakthroughs that need to happen. And AI has, as you said, has been around for a long time. There have been different cycles. Right now is this big spur around this statistical AI. There's a lot of other AI types that are being worked on that are pretty exciting. Like using small amounts of data, so the opposite of big data. So like a baby can watch somebody do something 3 times and then can figure out how to do it. Like our AIs can't do that right now. But I do think at the Media Lab we use the term extended intelligence. So I think what's going to happen is machines and automation will go into companies, go into our bodies, and extend what we are. They're not going to be some separate thing. And some corporations will start to get so automated, like some funds are already pretty automated, that companies will start to look like AIs. They already kind of do. So you'll start to see a little bit of autonomy. But I think fundamentally, though, they're not more wise. They're just more powerful. So unless we get our act together, it's just going to shoot us in the wrong direction even faster. So I'm less concerned about like the nuts and bolts of the super AI. I'm more concerned about getting systems like governance and ethics together. But to tie to the business side, one last thing I'd say on the business side is a lot of companies are trying to sell solutions. But if you remember VisiCalc when it came out, or maybe you're too young for that.
No, I read about it. No, I did.
But it was a tool that empowered business people to just dump their creativity into a system, right? Right now, I think the problem is AI is like, give me your problem, give me your data, here's a solution. When what you really want is you want to create Legos, not dollhouses. And it's going to take a little bit more progress on the AI side, and it will also probably need to sort of, and I think Teradata does that, providing tools for people to use. But I think that's another piece that we don't have yet. I'm really waiting for the day that you get to do your own AI work.
You mentioned extended intelligence. Is that the new buzzword? EI? Is that coming up?
That's for us. It is.
I think you could easily spread out to the rest of it. So next year, EI.
Yeah, I think EI.
Okay, I like that. What should we change, or how should we change education and training in the age of AI?
So I think, first of all, AI is growing very quickly, and it's going to be different every year. So if you're an employee or a student or somebody developing a system for that, you've got to kind of shoot ahead of the, as they say, ahead of the puck, right? And so that's tricky because the curriculum needs to be dynamic. And I think it's important to know that the relationship between the human and the machine is going to be one, I think, where you're looking over each other's shoulder. And so I can imagine that a pharmacist can become the doctor, or maybe even the social worker, or the mom. And so a lot of these things will be augmenting people with skills that might not be the person that you imagine to be delivering some of these things. So I think flexibility and thinking about these things. But most critically, I think if you see your student, your son or daughter doing a test, or if you're an employee and you're being trained on something that you can imagine an AI doing in the next year, probably not a good use of your time, right? So, I mean, our system has been designed to create robots and machines, white-collar and blue-collar machines. We need to start transferring people into new jobs, and we'll create those new jobs by jumping into automation. You're not going to see those new jobs if you're afraid of it.
Oh, I'd love to continue to talk. We have a few seconds remaining, but you were a club DJ, and what I love about DJs is they can control the room by changing the music, and that's exactly what you did. We have about 45 seconds remaining before we have to move on. But club DJ, and how has that helped you? That's where you started.
Yeah.
Your exploration of people.
Yeah. So to me, it's all about communities, and it's about culture. And you change communities and culture through music. There's a famous Scottish politician in the 1707 that said, "Let me not write, I care not that who writes the laws, let me write the songs of the land." And I think changing the music is how you change the game.
I like that. I like that. Disobedience over compliance, systems over objects, compasses over maps. I wish we could dive into that. You got to look that up. Hey, Joy, thank you very much. I'll be chatting with you a little bit later on off camera. Hey, we'll be right back in just a few seconds. Had so much fun chatting with Joy there. Such an amazing mind. I wish I had more time to chat with him. He's going to be heading back to Boston. He has a little baby, so congratulations, 5-month-old. All right, now, last night we've been chatting about it, the welcome reception. It was a lot of fun here in the expo hall, which is becoming more lively as we go. David McCreary, one of my favorite guys. If you haven't gone online and see some of the interaction him and I had, we were on a boat. Yes, sport coats and shorts. You can see that online. But this year's Man on the Street interview last night at the welcome reception, a lot of fun. Let's check out David. Interesting guy.
Hey, virtual friends, David McCreary here at the welcome reception at Teradata Partners 2017. I know you can't hear in the background, but Celebration by Kool and the Gang is playing. It's because there's a party going on right here. And we're going to talk to some people. Well, I want to find out why people are here, why people keep coming back to this, why you should be here next year. We're having a good time. Hey there, how you doing?
Good.
What is your name?
Hey, Gregory Kanevsky.
Gregory, how are you doing today? You having fun?
Should I talk to the camera or to you?
You surprised me.
I'm having fun because I already had like 2 glasses of wine, 1 beer, and 1 Italian Spitz, whatever it is. Yeah.
So is that what you were looking forward to the most here? Or what else are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to really meet people, and both Teradata and customers, and this event usually is the best opportunity for this. Also, you want to share what you have done in the last year, right. What kind of expertise you accomplished, what things accomplished, and what else you can do for them, for customers. Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you, Gregory, for talking to me.
Yeah, you didn't say your name.
I'm David.
I know.
Yeah, it says it right. Oh, I don't have my tag. I don't have my tag on.
No, but you're all amazing.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Gregory. All right. Oh, this guy wants to talk to me. I just saw you pointing. You can't point to the camera and then not talk to me. What is your name?
I'm Michael.
Michael, what are you doing here this week?
I'm just, taking care of my customers here.
Yeah. How important is that?
Sorry?
How important is that?
That's my most importance to be here because of them.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Nobody said that. That's the most brilliant thing I've heard tonight.
I'm from Teradata, you know. So that's my mission here,
That's
to take
right.
take the care of them.
All right, so what are you looking forward to most this week?
I think that's networking.
Yeah, I'm hearing a
Just,
lot of that.
You know, to just connect people together. That's it, and to get the value to the customers, that they will enjoy the event, and also get some knowledge from others.
Great, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have fun this week. Come over here, look, I mean, there's so many people hanging out. I really wish, I know this sounds crazy, I really wish you were here to meet people. Hey, what's your name? Hey, nice meeting you. You having fun so far?
Yes, sir.
I mean, we just started. This is the welcome reception.
Yes, but there's a lot of fun stuff out going on right now.
Can you hear the music pumping in the back?
Yes.
A little bit. Can you dance to it?
Yes.
Let's see.
Yeah, yes.
That was incredibly sexy.
Raise the music, man.
Yeah.
You need to dance, right?
That's right.
They keep it on the last day. They should start it with a dance.
They start and just have the music play all week long.
Yes, right.
And people just break out into dance.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, have fun this week.
Yes,
Dance
sir.
a lot.
Thank you.
All righty. That was good dancing. He acted at first like he didn't want to dance, and I didn't really have to twist his arm at all. We'll come over here. Let's find somebody. I want to find somebody to like scare them, like jump, like they weren't expecting me to talk to them at all. Like this guy right here eating his rice. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I told you. I just want to scare somebody.
It's like a daytime show. Hi.
That's right. How's the food?
Daytime show. It's been pretty good. You had a variety, and you got a little bit of free booze on the side. It doesn't get much better. So
A lot of people are talking about the free booze. But tell me about this food. You said you've tried a little bit of everything so far.
well, I just kind of wandered around. Yeah, it's good. I've been kind of focusing on the more Oriental flavors. So it's good. Yeah, that's kind of
So what should I go try then?
There's like the spicy Korean tacos. I'd go for those.
Okay. I'm going right now.
I'd say go for it.
All right. Well, have fun. Eat a lot this week. He had no idea I was gonna talk to him. I'll come over here. I want to talk to this group right here. Hey guys, how you doing? Ignore me. Pay attention. Or pretend like I'm not even here. I'm trying to get out of the camera. I just want to hear you guys carry on a conversation. Pretend like I'm not even here, but talk really loud.
You have another card for me?
That's right. I did magic for James earlier. I knew you looked familiar. Yeah. So what are you guys talking about?
Dates and Teradata.
Dates and Teradata?
Yeah.
What do you mean by dates?
Like birth date, the actual date format, date fields.
Okay. All right, stuff that's way over my head. Yeah. What are you guys looking forward to this week? I mean, wrap it up for what are you looking forward to the most this week?
Well, we work in healthcare, so we're really interested in like the healthcare forums. And then me personally, I'm more interested in like the machine learning, AI type stuff too.
Well, great. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. Have a blast this week. Nice seeing you again. I'll fool you some more with some more magic later. All right, guys, we're having a blast down here. Next year, you got to be here to experience this. Jeff, back to you.
I don't know about that guy. I don't know. He keeps things exciting. He keeps things interesting out there. I love the guy. He's a lot of fun. He's the eyes and ears on the floor out there in the expo hall. We'll be hearing a lot more from him. Once again, I'm Jeff Kraft. Here at the news desk, going to be here all day today, tomorrow, and of course on Wednesday. And we are live, continuing the live coverage on Facebook and YouTube, but that's going to be ending after the next couple of interviews. And I'll let you know how you can continue the journey with us in just a little bit. Coming up next, we're going to be chatting with Wearscape NCR, Mark Budzinski, the CEO of Wearscape. Good to have you here on the news desk.
Nice to be here, Jeff.
You know, we've got a lot to talk about. Automation is going to be the main thing to talk about, but you've been a partners for quite a while. 10 years you've been a partners.
Yeah. Gosh, all the way back to 07. So it's been a while, and it's the same. Content's obviously different, but it's the same energy every year. It's always great to be here, yeah.
That's the thing. I was going to ask you, the energy as they clap over there, the robot challenge like is going on over there. That's what you're being in the expo hall, and we're live. That's what you can't cut that out. You got to try that, by the way.
Okay.
The energy here, though, last year was in Atlanta. That was my first year with Teradata. It was a lot of fun, but the energy continues to grow. How can the energy continue to grow? The industry is moving so fast. It is moving so fast. How do you stay on top? How do you stay on top of the industry? Being ahead of the curve, maintaining the excitement. I mean, it's crazy here.
Well, there's a massive challenge. I feel for the customers that we and others have relationships with. The challenges are monumental as far as technology coming at them, new paradigms coming at them, and there's an expectation that there is a, let's just sort of push a button and we'll learn it and we'll have competent people and we're away. So there is a gap between what is possible and what actually is, what is actually realized. I think it's probably from my point of view, the biggest issue here. We have so much wonderful technology now. Technology is not the problem. There's Hadoop, there's streaming technology. I mean, there's plenty of technology. How do you actually implement it so that you can get after what continues to be an insatiable appetite for processing data, analyzing data in the business?
Let's real quick talk to the folks out there. What is Warescape? Well, Warescape, it's a data warehouse automation and big data software company. 35-year career. Mark has held sales and marketing management positions at Intel, Sequent Computer Systems, Radisys, Applied Microsoft, Warescape. I mean, you hold an MBA from the University of Oregon. You're out in Portland.
That's correct. That's correct. So go Ducks.
Yeah, go Ducks. That's how'd they do on Saturday?
They lost.
Okay. We'll stop there then. What issues do you see in the Teradata customer base?
Well, it's a little bit like what I said in my earlier remarks. This idea that we have technology and we have to satisfy the appetite at a pace that the business demands. So there is recognition. That's probably the biggest change I see, Jeff. There's a recognition that getting on with it, getting old paradigms out of the way, getting old processes resolved, really pushing a reset button on how do we get to the future and ultimately realize value in a way that CFOs and all the others in the business want that value, right? So to say I implemented one of those Hadoop things doesn't really go far, as you can imagine, when you're talking to the business people. It's like, yeah, well, whatever, squirrels in a cage, cloud, on-prem, I don't care. Are we getting value from our data? That's really the trend that has persisted for many years, but I see it coming to a head. There is an overwhelming recognition by those responsible for delivering value from data to get on with it and to close that gap once and for all with the business folks that require it.
The investment in Teradata, I mean, it's essentially squeezing more out of the Teradata investment. How much can you squeeze out of the Teradata investment? That's kind of the topic that we're going to be touching upon or diving into here today. But let's talk about Warescape and what does Warescape offer that customers should really care about?
Well, the question is simple and the answer is just as simple, and that is we have software that automates the otherwise manual, largely sort of pain in the neck operations that you do to develop, to design, to deploy, and ultimately operate your data infrastructure. Whether you call that a data warehouse, whether you call it the UDA, whatever term you want to have for infrastructure, we have to feed the monster of analytics. There's a lot of assumptions that business people make about the integrity of the data, that it's properly governed, that it's properly documented. If you've been to one meeting, you've probably been to 10 where different factions of the company are going to argue about whose data is right. So we have to get past that once and for all. And we do that by delivering our data infrastructure in a robust, nearly real-time way to the customer. How do we do it? We do it through automation software that essentially, like any other automation paradigm that you're familiar with, agriculture, manufacturing, what have you, we're dramatically speeding up the time to market to actually get this code, these tables, this data properly organized and delivered. And we're doing it in such a way that it's standard. So the idea that we have folks, whether they be employees for the company, or in many cases they are third parties. So they are Cognizant, Wipro consultants. They are the local consulting shop down the street. Whatever it may be, there's a long in the tooth set of patterns there where we hire people to overcome the data challenges that we have as far as building out the data infrastructure. Enough's enough. You can't hire more people, and the idea that we're going to somehow cut costs, will reduce their travel budgets and take away their phones. Like, how much more cost can you take out of the human capital? We're sort of done with that. So we have to take a different approach, and Warescape comes to market with, I think, a very strong value proposition that is well received all over the world in a lot of different industries, whether it be insurance, manufacturing, retail, whatever, that says, how do we automate what otherwise we've been doing by hand? It's an awesome opportunity to close this gap I'm talking about with the business user.
Downside. What's the downside to automation? I mean, we talk.
It's one of those sounds too good to be true things.
It is, because how do you take? I mean, when you're a business owner, you want to be a hands-on. You have the folks that are out there that are extremely hands-on, but having it automated, it's a sense of losing the core business, or where is it going? I don't know. It's automated. It's great, but what if I want to do this and that? Automation can. There's got to be a downside, right?
Well, great question. So this is what every new customer that we talk to says. How do we deal with what's ultimately going to get in the way? We are a special business. We have special data. We have special needs from that data. And the fact that you're going to just somehow automate it, so we push a couple buttons and it all happens, it sounds like you're neutering our competitive advantage and what we're actually trying to get out of our data. So the old timers will remember the case tools of 1984, where computer-aided software engineering really kind of died an ugly death, whereby the market said, vanilla implementations, that doesn't really work for us. So the first downside is a perception that if you do it wrong, and if you really do it wrong, it's not a perception anymore, it is in fact reality, that you've done something in a sort of vanilla way. Software like from Warescape is something that can be customized. It's in the native Teradata environment. So all of the technology that customers know and love, TPT, and all this data structure and code is actually implemented by Warescape. The other downside, it's a rather obvious one, is, well, hang on, if we're gonna automate the factory floor, what happened to all the factory workers? We don't need them anymore, right? So there's a perception of threat that says automation is, in a very real sense, gonna antagonize my my livelihood. So again, the fact that there's such an appetite for data, it has never happened in my tenure with the company over the last 10 years, whereby there are people losing jobs and layoffs and all that. What happens in real life is you can get a project done in a couple of weeks or a couple of months compared to the long multi-quarter, multi-year projects. What happens at the end of that project? Oh, we got more. The appetite for data does not go away. If anything, it increases as the trust in those that actually are delivering value from data increases. And that's the beautiful upside. But I would say that's the downside. It has more to do with perception and applying the technology, quote unquote, wrong or incorrectly. But if you do it right, you can really mitigate the risks associated with those downsides.
We've got about 30 seconds remaining, real quick. Learning more, getting started.
Yeah. First thing is check out Warescape.com. That's sort of an obvious thing. There's certainly a narrative on the website that talks about our specific use cases and products and customers, but there's also often a lot of third-party material that's available there as well. So you can read up and sort of get comfortable with what this automation concept is all about and how it might apply for you. Getting started is just a matter of getting started. Find a project where you feel like the stress is high and the delivery has got to happen sooner than later, and give it a go.
Great, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. What I like about you, you're just like me, you keep your calendar on paper still. All this automation that we're talking about, we still keep our calendar on paper. I like that. Mark Budzinski, again, CEO of Warescape. Mark, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Enjoy your time here the rest of the week. Well, we're going to continue this fun party here on the news desk, because that's essentially what this is. We're trying to get to know the customers, the CEOs, the owners, the forward thinkers, who's going to take which company to the next level. That's what we're finding out. We want to dive into a little bit and get their take on all of this industry that we're here for on the What's Next. Coming up next, speaking of, NCR is the company, is the IT partner to software and professional services. Brian Vallejo, just like that, it's like magic. One goes out, one comes in.
Here I am.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Real quick, you're a supporter of the growth of young minds through STEM education. Believer in the value of process, organization, security, and quality. Technologists pushing the power of data and analytics and global business systems. Haven't started yet, but I might. Investigator, or I did it right there. instigator of cross-functional activities to build community architect and solutions that drive successful business outcomes. I appreciate you being here. First off, how many partners have you been to?
I think this is probably my eighth partners conference. I was actually a Teradata employee prior to working at NCR, so this is like family for me.
Yeah, it really is, and it's been a lot of fun. Day one is always exciting because nobody knows. People. We've got the news desk here, which is a lot of fun. We are virtually live, first time ever. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on multiple platforms this year. It's exciting. The energy, though, from since you work with Teradata, what is the energy this year here in Anaheim?
Oh, this is fantastic. I'm really excited to be here. We are sitting here watching this game going on over here. We've got virtual reality. I'm definitely going to try those robots. That looks like a lot of fun. So I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, it's like the battle bots. You know, it's robot fighting time.
Absolutely.
We need to get.
I hope one of them has a chainsaw attachment.
I think it does. Actually,
that'd be really cool.
That'd
be really cool.
So we're going to be. I guess the overview here is the logical data warehouses and the roles necessary to support business-focused analytics across all aspects of an organization. That's kind of like the overview, and that's what we're about to dive into. What is the logical data warehouse, and how's it different from a data lake?
So I think, to me, the logical data warehouse construct is really the superset of all data stores within our organization, at least at NCR. We have a lot of data that we generate, both our own internal data from our sales systems, our marketing systems, our website itself. Then we also have a lot of data that we generate with our systems for our customers. So to me, the logical data warehouse is really the amalgam of all of those things. And we use Teradata technology, we use cloud-based technologies, we use Hadoop. So it's a wide range of technologies that we use to maintain all of this data and then present it effectively for the purposes that we're using.
So how does Teradata fit into the system?
So we use Teradata in a couple of different ways. It's really a presentation layer for a lot of our internal financial data. We use Aster for predictive analytics, and especially in our services technologies. So that Aster box allows us to do complex technical equations without the need for people to do a lot of coding. So that's really what the benefit is. We can get the analytics in the hands of the business users that really need it so they can more effectively do their job. So Teradata plays a big part of all of this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oliver talked about, it was excitement in the general session about telecloud.
Right.
Was a lot of fun to hear that. How does cloud computing impact the logical data warehouse?
So we try to move data around as little as possible. So I would include some of our cloud capabilities as part of that logical data warehouse. We have on-premise Teradata, large 6800 system that's all SSD for heavy transaction processing. But we do have some of our data in the cloud, so it's really a hybrid for us, and we use QueryGrid to move data, let us interrogate that data both in the cloud and on-prem.
The kinds of skills and roles that are needed to make this concept successful. What about training?
Sure. So training's big for us. We have to train both our employees in all of these technologies as well as the customers of that data. So we have a lot of different types of training. We do webinars like this. We do video training. We do all kinds of different technologies and techniques to get training to the people so that they can effectively interrogate the data where it lives rather than trying to move it down to their desktop. That's really what we try to avoid, is having people do a lot of exports from our systems. We try to make the data available to them, and so they can use the processing capacity of Teradata and Aster so that we're able to get the information we need.
What type of skills are needed to make this concept truly successful?
Yeah, it's a variety. We use R, Python. Again, Aster is really helpful for us in that regard because people don't need to know how to code specific algorithms, and they're able to use Aster technology for that. And again, Teradata as a relational database really helps us to be able to do that effectively. So it's a lot of different training for different users. There are a lot of data scientists out there these days. We have some of those, but I think the citizen data user is really what we cater to most. There's hundreds of those throughout our organization. So we use all these technologies to allow those people to more effectively get their work done.
You know, we were talking about skills and talking about training. Let's talk about your volcano experience. Saw something, you've climbed 6 volcanoes, but you've only seen one erupt. I mean, is that really a loss? I mean, to me, it seemed like when I heard about this, like you were sad that you've only seen one erupt.
It was pretty exciting.
I don't even want to see that one erupt.
It was actually pretty exciting. There's nothing like being in a nylon tent and having this was in Mexico. It's a volcano called Popo. And it literally erupted while we were on the next volcano over, probably less than 5 miles away, called Ixta. So we literally woke up one morning, got out of our tent, we're making coffee, and realized that the volcano next to us was erupting. That's pretty awesome. It's a good day.
Grab some coffee, you know, go ahead and go back in the tent, take a little nap. It's okay. It's another volcano erupting. Are you a thrill seeker? Is that what you do outside of work?
You know, I'm a seeker of places where cell phones don't work, and it seems like volcanoes are a good choice when you're trying to avoid the cell phone.
I want to toss mine into the ball. So next time you're there, go ahead and toss it in for me.
Sounds good.
That would be fantastic. You're a Teradata employee. Now you're on the other side. The general sessions are always exciting, both for Teradata employees and for everybody else that comes to the conference. What was and I've been asking a lot of people,
Sure.
this, the big takeaway from the general session today?
Wow, I think to me, the biggest takeaway is some of the announcements about the future of a lot of these platforms and embracing the fact that people are going to have that logical data warehouse. Being able to use Teradata technologies to really span and bridge those things is exciting to me. I think there's a big future for big data, and we're certainly a generator of that for a lot of our constituents. We sell over 250 applications, I think, that all generate huge volumes of data, and I think the IntelliSphere concept really can help to drive us forward as a company and make every day easier for our customers.
No, I appreciate you being up here. Great chatting with you. You got to go try that VR headset on there.
I'm on it right now.
You've got to go do that. Jump off. I've been telling everybody, walk the plank, but jump off. Don't just walk back into the elevator. Jump off.
I'm going to go get in line right now.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Brian Vallejo, again, IT partner to software and professional services, NCR. Again, we're going to continue the conversations here on the news desk, but unfortunately, we are not going to be live for every single one of them. So again, if you want to follow us here in the news desk, again, YouTube and Facebook are going to shut down, but we do have a website. All you've got to do is register, and that is partners.teradata.com/virtual, and you can stay right with us today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And again, I'll walk you through a video on there that was already pre-recorded. It'll walk you through everything you need to know, including interacting with a game that we have on there. You can win some Amazon gift cards. So again, that's something that we can do.